Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Donny Chaingang. And no, we weren't down in London, despite what the rumours say. We're here. We are live on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel, bringing you all of the action from the Donny Chaingang, and we're really looking forward to stage number 3. Well, I say we are really looking forward to stage number 3. I am really looking forward to stage number 3. I don't think anybody else is, because we have some real interesting things happening today, because we're going up some dirty great climb somewhere. Let's show you where we're heading on the Tour de France tribute from the Donny Chaingang, and let's show you the stages that we have coming up. You can see them just over there. So we started off with a prologue time trial, short, sharp, but being the Donny Chaingang, straight up Bologna, and it wasn't easy. It's the Donny Chaingang. What does people expect? Then we hit the classic Sprinters Festival, the flat section on the run into the finish where the big watts will pay off. Somebody poked the bear there, I think, and then it all went a bit pear-shaped. So then the sprint was very, very tricky. Now we're on to the first of two mountain stages through the iconic Mont Ventoux. And then later on this week, we have a little bit of a transition stage across. So this is the hilltop finish. It's the mountaintop finish that was used in the 2016 Tour de France. Now, for all of the members of the Donny Chaingang, and there are still some of those left still able to qualify. Not everybody has done an Andy Hawes or a Mr. Langmead and got the picture completely against the rules. Everybody who takes a picture of their avatar coming across the line, the gang are coming in, and the gang can win prizes. So all 6 stages complete and getting that photographic evidence up online, and that thread will open at the end of the stage. Then you can grab yourselves a prize, and there are spot prizes as well for people who have ridden, and massive prize. We've got Grand Tour coffee, we've got 1080 Oakleys, we've got Stelton Spot, we've got stuff from Russ and myself from the DCG, and more coming your way, and Gritty, who have added a pair of socks as well. So all the members getting details in the members email. And to be a member of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, basically if you donate for a month or for a year, and you then submit that in, Russ and I will just double check that you're not going to do us any damage by bringing you into the Chaingang. You're not going to upset all of the members, and then we'll admit you in. Not everybody makes a cut, has to be said, and we are pretty protective of the people in there, because they are the people who look after us, and that means that we can bring you the Chaingang. Now, Russ is really looking forward to this tonight. Let's have a little chat with our yellow beacon and see what Russ is up to. Hello, Russ.
Hey, oh, did I just hear you say I'm really looking forward to this?
No, if I did, it was tongue-in-cheek, believe me. I'm looking forward to this. I am definitely the only person who's looking forward to this, I think.
Me looking forward to hilltop finishes is, long gone, mate.
I'm not surprised. And we know this is going to be a tough climb. We've done this twice now, and I don't think it's going to be easy, is it?
No. As the saying goes, it ain't easy. It's the DCG, but we're mixing it up for the Tour de France, and it's a nice route, and everyone will squeeze on. We've had a few little squeezy bits. The prologue was good fun, a bit of a hill climb there. This is just a longer version of that, really, because we're all going to be like sheep on a mountain all over the shop once the go. So let's make it count. Stay around yellow for the first half of it or so, and then let's have a bash, fill your basket up the wattage climb.
Definitely, it is indeed a wattage climb. It is absolutely. I think this is one of the most boring climbs in the world ever in any way, shape, or form. But that's just me. Some people really love it. So let's show people where they are heading. Whilst we've got Russ on the line, let's bring in the map. So Russ, of course, is our yellow beacon. Liam Ellis is the man driving the red bus at the back, and we head out into the gorge without any kind of lead-in for the gorge climb, which means that the gang have got to stay together. Then we go through the balance sprint and then up the petite KOM. So we take the right-hand turn after the farmers' fields and after the agricultural fields at the top of the gorge, and onto the petite KOM first. And that in itself is enough of a climb for some people, isn't it, Ross?
yeah, I was carried away then reading the messages, but it's yeah, I know what you said, mate. I was well away.
So the petite KOM, that's enough of a climb for most people. It's enough of a climb for you most days, isn't it?
I did get the back end of that. Yeah, the petty KOM, that's about as good as it gets nowadays. How far? What is it? It's like a few little climbs.
You've got basically 8k of flat, and then you've got 14k of climbing today.
Yeah, but I'd say that petty KOM is just a little lump in it compared to what we're going to do. It's a warm up.
But you turn immediately left off the top of it onto the big climb. And are you going to give any clues away as to where the go is likely to go?
I don't know. Let's get to the top of that petty KM first, and then reassess.
Okay, well, we'll leave it in your hands, Russ. We're going to let you get back to messaging the tricks and get everybody up and running. And we'll hopefully catch up with you later. I will keep a check on your heart rate, I promise, mate.
I've just someone just pointed out that I've got discs in. That is an error.
Good luck. You better get it changed quick.
I did change them. I went through the menu earlier just before you rang and pressed it, but it must not work. So
it's all right. My avatar's on a time trial bike, so it could be worse. Well, we'll see if you get it fixed. Cheers, Russ. Now, great to hear from Russ there. Now, let's get you the details of the profile. Now, we were saying on the flat route, we love it when it's really flat because it fits in with your screens on this high-definition feed. So you can just see it's really wide. Now, today, it doesn't do that. You can see the very little green section at the very bottom. That's the start, and we climb from the very lowest point, just above sea level, about 13 metres up the petite KOM. Now the petite KOM is actually the section running from left to right up the hill. When it turns left back up onto the reds, oranges and greens, then that is where you are going to see all of the climb up the Ven-Top. Now we finish at the Chalet Reynard KOM banner. And that is where the 2016 Tour finished the year infamously that we saw Chris Froome having to run. And so that is where Froome was running, and that is where we are going to head up to. Now our riders are up and riding. We just hear them actually out on the course, so let's take a quick jump across from our fantastic Velo viewer profile across to the screen, and as you can see our riders just heading out from a pens over there. You can see the yellow beacon just up in the sky, and that is Russ's avatar with a beacon over the top. I'm hoping he's managed to take it off from this. We'll soon get a view of that. The red beacon, well, he's our man at the back, and he is going to be, that's Liam Ellis. Now Russ, I think, has managed to get rid of the disc. He has, just taking a quick look down in there. So if we just pop up our So we're back. Quick break there because we just had a minor tech issue diving in on one of the feeds, one of the computers. Massively quick reboot by me. I haven't moved that fast in years. So at the moment you can just see the riders are out on the route. We will pull in the map at the top, and you'll see our riders about to take that right hand turn and then onto the climb of the gorge. As they work their way up that gorge, they're going to climb up at about 2 and 3%, and this is about getting together. This is about blobbing the group together and getting everybody working in one group. I don't think anybody's daft enough to try and go for a long one, but hopefully they're not going to, because it's all about getting the group together, work together. The longer you stay together, the less distance you've got to work really hard at the end. Once the signal is given by Russ, the infamous go, 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 then at that point, that's when all of the controls are off, the limiters are thrown out of the window, and it's about getting to the top as quick as possible. That is going to come. Now, I think if anybody is stuck in the pen like Craig, it's a case of jump out and jump back into the group again. So leave the event, jump back in. You've got about a 15-minute window. So let's see just how Craig gets on. We do have plenty of people just starting to jump in at the back. So here we are. Looks like Craig jumping in with the group. Let's have a quick check. Yep, he's in here. So Craig Herring in the middle of the group, just seeing him centre on. Let's take a look. Looks like Adi Dench in here. Flanagan, Mr. Lindley's made it in so close to in here as well from out of the saddle. Good to have him back in with us. Rich Orrell's in here. Looks like Ted is in as well. Ian from 1080. So really is a regulars party in here amongst the gang. Good to see Mr. Ellis is here, and looks like Caroline coming in to add another stage to her totals, and Caroline with some great pictures, and Caroline actually surviving despite the tyre exploding on Neil's bike right alongside her as they went up one of the climbs. I'm hoping Daryl Tattershaw Waller has made it, because he was having to log in from the middle of nowhere. Let's have a little look. Daryl is here now. Daryl takes the biscuit sometimes with his power. He's absolutely flying, but I tell you something, he's forgiven anything he's ever done wrong in any previous life, because this man has gone on holiday and has taken his bike and his turbo with him so he can ride the Donny Chaingang. Absolute superstar, and Daryl, full marks for that, mate. Absolutely set a standard for the week, that is for sure. So let's dive in with the gang on the Chaingang here on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. So here on Donny Chaingang on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne, you can see our riders, one nice solid group coming up this climb. If we take a quick look up on the helicopter shot here as our riders climb the gorge, these riders really closely packed together, not too many people pushing on. There's absolutely no point being a hero at this stage, because it's not going to gain you anything. There's so much climbing to come on the way up through these through this course up in towards the hills, and as you can see at the moment, that group nicely together at the minute. This is going to be the first of two mountain top stages in the Tour de France tribute here on the Donny Chaingang, and if you've been watching the tour, you will know it's absolutely a classic tour. I'm not going to give any spoilers out whatsoever. Not going to spoil, because I know a number of people waiting to go on and watch it later on. But gotta say, absolutely astounding tour so far. I'm really impressed with the coverage as well. Had the pleasure of talking with Brian Smith today, and Brian, of course, one of our fantastic members of the DCG gang. He's a year member of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and Brian in there. And if you haven't been watching on the Facebook page, make sure you go on there and have a look for the commentators bingo card. Let's see which of our commentators gets the most of the phrases in. Now, the riders at the moment on the top of the climb, just about out, and you can just be able to see just coming up to the very last of those twists and turns. Now, our riders are taking part, if they're a member of the DCG gang, and they are actually managing to operate a camera. You think this would be a pretty steady, pretty easy skill to use, but not everybody has the technological ability. The aim is, of course, to try and take the picture of your avatar, and if you take the picture of your avatar and get it onto the Facebook thread, then you find yourselves being put into the competitions. Now, that only works, of course, if our riders are taking the right picture. Not everybody does. So just having a little look up the road, it looks like we have a protest in true Tour fashion. We're having a riders' protest up the road. So it looks to me like there are three musketeers up the road in support of the man who kicked off the lack of photographic evidence here. And we're just going to take a little bit of a look at these three here. And it is a protest ride going on in true Tour de France style. We're waiting for them to start punching the spectators, but these riders here, Hawes, Crehan and Killingsworth, are in support of Andy Hawes, who his inability to operate the camera has meant that we've had to refer him to the commissaire team. So Russ and I have referred Andy to the commissaire team of Russell Downing and Matthew Payne. But Russ and I, we as organisers, of course, feel for him. But you know what? The rules are fairly clear and are pretty straightforward. And part of the game, or part of the competition, is to see who has the ability at the end of the stage to take the picture. A bit like you see our riders hitting their Garmin as they come across the line, making sure that they zip up the jersey for the social media and for the pictures. It's the same thing when it comes to winning on the Donny Chaingang as a member of the DCG gang. Now, one man who has done this admirably is going to be our week 1 winner. We can announce it live today because the man who is going to win the Donny Chaingang prize for week number 1, spot prize for week 1, is Neil from the Crosscast. Now, Neil was voted this quite simply for a very simple reason. Coming into the big climb on Bologna, on the TT, he came in and you know what? He got a puncture halfway up. Instead of climbing up, which would be everybody's intention when you're on that Bologna climb, he turned around and he went, no, I'm going to fix it. Not only did he then fix the puncture, put the wheel back in and complete the ride, he then managed to get photographic evidence of absolutely everything, including picture perfect results. So in true spirit of the chain gang, this man, Neil Mansfield, has done an absolutely awesome job of riding it, doing the business, getting back on the bike despite adversity and getting it done. He wasn't letting a flat tyre get him down, and he showed our musketeers exactly how it's done by taking pictures despite all that adversity. So Neil, congratulations. We've got a very special prize coming out in your direction, and Neil is going to be getting the prize sent to him. It's going to be a special Grand Tour coffee package that's coming out to him. That's this week's spot prize. So congratulations, Neil. I know that you're going to enjoy the coffee for a fact, and I'm sure you'll like what else is in there. So fantastic stuff, Neil. That's enough about the competition. Let's head back out and just look at this group. It looks like it's got strung out. I am loving the message that he's really pumped up after that. It's good to see that our guys have not lost their sense of humour in here. So, just taking a little bit of a run down through the group. It looks like it's a little bit strung out at the moment, guys. So if you are watching live, and I know quite a few people are, you do need to keep it together, please. Now, just seeing Liam Ellis just on 0 watts per kilo, he probably figures he's got enough time to take his time about this. So just taking a little look out here. That's Russ with the full sarcastic mode engaged. Don't go poking the bear, please, guys. I don't really want everybody heading up here at warp speed. It's going to be hard enough to keep track of everybody as it is. Now, let's have a look at some more of our regulars here. We've got Mr. Canham is in here, Kieran Smith here. Looks like Owen is as well. Liam still sat back there, so just having a little look. I think Liam has got issues with the turbo here. So Mr. Genther, I think, is taking on duties at the back. So Craig Genther, if you see this man, and this is Craig Genther, I think Craig is going to be our red beacon, de facto red beacon, because we've got issues for Liam at the moment, and the Stelton rider just out of action at the moment, so he may well be able to drop back in. We're not too far into the ride, but Craig just jumping and sitting on the back. So let's have a look. We've got Mr. Doxy just having a little bit of a run in, just stretching his legs out. Now James Doxy, good hill climber. Mr. Richardson is in here as well, and looks like Mr. Ellis is just trying to get the kit sorted and back into gear. So It looks like he's going to be heading in the right direction. Craig holding around the back of the bunch with Mr. Richardson here, and just pretty much all of the gang coming back together. Good to see Carl Kapinski's back in. I know Carl's not been riding for a little while on the Chaingang, so not as regularly as before. So here we go, Carl back in with the trademark hat, the very traditional gloves there, but the lightweight setup. You are going to see a multitude of bikes on this. Not everybody is riding on the same bike, but it's not going to take long before they are. Now we're talking spot prizes for our members that we were earlier. Got to say a massive thank you to this man. This is Ian Taylor from 1080. Ian has put in another set of Oakley prizes, and Ian, of course, 1080 sponsoring lots of our competitions, doing a fantastic job of looking after the members. And remember, guys, if you're going to support the shops, why not support people who support the Chaingang? These are the guys who are looking after the members. The members donate, and the donations mean that we are able to keep the show on the road, and that doesn't matter whether it's to do with getting extra phone lines and broadband lines in to make all of the tech work fast enough. It's also about making sure that we have got all of the technical kit, the mics, the cameras, the lights, the processing speed, as well as having all of Ross's kit working. So remember, if you guys weren't there, we aren't. If you weren't there, we aren't able to keep the show on the road. So a massive thank you. And without people like Ian at 1080, it just doesn't happen. So make sure you support him. If you're a member of the DCG gang, you get a 10% additional discount over and above the already ridiculously cheap Oakley prices that he's got. So make sure you get in there. And remember, people like Gritty supporting with socks for the prizes and discounts all the way through the year. People like the guys at Veloskin. And remember, if you buy from Veloskin, use the discount code. If you remember, it all helps us gain more funds to make the Chaingang happen. Russ and I here all the way through the year, making sure that the whole thing runs right on the way in. Now, one man who was a hot favourite to smash it apart on the finish as we came in to the finish on the flat was Mr. Mason. Gareth Mason is here. Now, Gareth, not necessarily the favourite today. Might have something to do because he's slightly heavier, just a few grams than anybody else out there, or the majority, let's say. So not necessarily our hot favourite today, but he can put out the rod kilo to dig in, and he is in there when things get lumpy. So we'll see if he can contain it onto the top. So let's have a little look. So don't be surprised, there's only 16 to go. Mr. Two Dogs, Johnny, no, I'm afraid not. It's not the flat day, that is for sure. Our riders now having taken that right hand turn onto the petite KOM, and this is where things get really, really tough for the riders because basically it's all uphill from here. There ain't much down, if any whatsoever. This is all about keeping it together, working as a team to help everybody get up, just like you would see in the Tour. The aim here is to bring everybody in together, at least until we reach a stage later on where the contenders can play it out at the front and everybody else can find the best mates a little bit further back. Now, just taking a little bit of a look, it looks like Mr. Ellis stuck at the side of the road on 2.5 watts per kilo. Oh no, he's back on the move again. So an interesting time at the moment for Mr. Ellis. It looks like he has got definite tape problems, so thank you to Mr. Ven-Top for stepping in here, Craig. That's what we love about the Red Beacon duties, because the Red Beacon duties are shared out amongst the riders of the DCG Donny Chaingang. You don't need to be a member of the Chaingang to carry out this role. You don't have to be a member of the supporters club, but a bit of experience of riding the Chaingang and knowing the roles that Red Beacon and seeing how other people do it is always handy. Craig Genther, one of our experienced riders when it comes to being Red Beacon, and definitely got a nice lightweight bike, the Bridgestone bike, one of the new lightweight generation of bikes coming onto the Zwift game, and the Melisline wheel's still the lightest wheel in game for climbing by far, so definitely the one to have. As you can see, the man in grey has been preceded by another man in grey, and that's because both riders are riders who are involved with downhill cycling And it's a Donny cycling kit, and that is Craig Herring there, and good to see Craig in action. Craig, of course, is one of our riders who we had on the OTE talk with Annie Simpson for the members of the DCG gang, and good to see he's on there. So 2 guys on Bridgestones in the same jersey all together now. Looks like Caroline out for a steady ride tonight, just sitting at 2 watts per kilo, not going to go too hard too soon, and I think Caroline's going to have company pretty quickly with the gang at the back, and let's see how they go. So good to see Craig on the gang, and Mr. Genther as well. Craig Genther in there, so Genther Herring in there doing the sweeping, but I'm not sure they actually plan the grade. They deny it, but I'm not so sure I believe them. Now let's take a little look at Kieran Brown. Kieran Brown is a man who is got to be fancied for taking away top spot when they get up to the very top, and the signal is given, because we know that Kieran, one of our very quick riders indeed, at the moment it goes uphill super fast. Now ultimate take nightmare from Liam, because he's got a dead turbo, so that's really bad news for Liam. That's not what he wanted coming into this when he's on duty, so we'll see how he gets on. Just following Dr. D, who is in the gang somewhere, I think in the green, there he is. So let's take a look. So Dr. D is in here to run on the climb, another of our experienced Chaingang riders, and good to have him back with us, and he will be telling a few of the riders just to take it steady, not least of which will be the man from Wales is Shelley Charles, because Charles just recovering from getting his second jab. Lots of people will tell you just take it easy, don't go too hard too soon with that. We want you all in one piece when you come back in. So looks like Kieran just doing little efforts at the back to stretch his legs out. That's when Mr. Stevens tucked in here nicely, so just taking a little bit of a look at Stevens in that traditional black kit that he normally wears, sat in there, and nice cadence there, 93 revs per minute. As Russ says, stay around the yellow, there won't be a go. That might actually encourage people just to go off the front by 50 yards and stay there, just to stop everybody from getting it, just to hold that off and hold that at bay. Now let's have a little look. Looks like Brad is back with us again. Good to see you, Brad. Brad Cheeseman back in the gang, on for the lightweight option, the Cannondale there, so good to see he's on something pretty lightweight. Just taking a little bit of a look, I think I have just seen somebody riding on knobbly tyres. Now this is the question, who is it? So looks like Raccoon is riding on a cross bike there, or a gravel bike. Now that means it's going to be harder. It's not the lightest bike, and it doesn't have great rolling resistance on tarmac. However, if we were to hit gravel section, it'd be amazing. Not tonight, has to be said. So Raccoon doing an awesome job. Now, but this is the one we're talking about, having had his second jab. This is Shelley Charles. Shelley, of course, another regular on the Chaingang, on that lighter frame of the Bridgestone, and again running on road tyres. Quite a few people on Tron bikes tonight, but Tron bikes are not the fastest by any stretch of the imagination when it goes uphill. They're the best all-round bikes, but not going up. Let's just take a little look at Russ. He's looking pretty smooth at the moment, so let's see if we can grab hold of the man himself on the phone. Always an interesting moment to see whether this works. Russ, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm glad it's dipped off to 6% and not 8% when you were going to call me.
Well, I was watching your heart rate and thinking I can't go too late and I can't go too early, but I think it might kick again, because it does fluctuate a little bit going into this corner.
Yeah, you're always about a 98, 99 sort of poor guy, and then look at it now, 103, so yeah, cheers for that, mate.
What can I say? You know, we've got to make you work hard. I mean, I'm going to give everybody else a chance by stretching those lungs of yours. And the group behaving really quite well, aren't they, at the moment? I mean, nobody wants to be up this hill sooner than they have to be. And it looks like the gang really is staying together, even though protests from the Three Musketeers were turning around, and they even came back in the fold.
Yeah, they know they're not going to win with us, you know. So they just thought, yeah, that fell on deaf ears, really, didn't it?
It did. I mean, you know, much as I can sympathise with Andy being outside the turning himself inside out. I mean, you know, the commissaire team are turned around and gone, and you broke the rules, mate. So what? You know, you're not going to be in there, but we will see. what happens.
Literally a schoolboy error, wasn't it? You know, it's user error, schoolboy error, call it what you wish. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's very true.
Something.
Yeah, I know. He's just clearly not read the rules, which is, everybody does it, but that's part of playing the game as a cyclist. You need to know exactly what you are up to. So, Mr. Killingsworth just being questioned on his jersey, and one of the reasons Mike Killingsworth is in this is their protest jersey. So they've even gone to the effort of changing the jersey, but I think it hasn't worked because they've got a whole load of thumbs up and ride-ons, which will be weighing him down.
And he's just messing with us, mate.
Well, as I said to somebody today, whilst I might take my time to turn around and lose my rag, it's when it goes, it's quite spectacular. So people have been warned. We've got to be careful. It's I'm maybe not as fiery tempered as as Bernard Hino, but definitely have my moments. And let's face it, you don't survive in a pro peloton like you have, Russ, without being able to sharpen your elbows at the right moment.
That's it. Don't poke the bears there for a reason, but I don't know what the saying is about don't poke the cameraman, microphone man, and
commentator, producer, director, T-boy. Product plugger.
Something, mate. Just getting out of hand, this, isn't it?
Well, well, let's see what happens. I mean, they're just going to have to sit there and bite their fingernails if they've got any left at the top of the climb. Well, I'm going to speaking of the top of the climb, you're about to hit the junctions, turn left, so we'll let you get on to Ven-Top proper and get the troops all back together again.
Yeah, I just went past Andy Hawes then and just gave him a clip on the back of the helmet as if to say, pipe down and behave, pal. It's my show, not yours.
Love it. Well, let's see what happens as we go up the climb. I'm sure none of the protesters will get much airtime once it all gets a bit ragged. But let's see if they can remember to take a picture, because all is not lost. I mean, let's face it, we've seen people reinstated before by commissaire panels as well as relegated. So watch the Facebook page if you are interested in the Andy Hawes, and in fact Richard Langmead is in the same boat, but not garnering quite the same amount of musketeer action at the moment. But maybe he might get reinstated because he hasn't protested too much. Who knows?
Yeah, and have a good ride, everyone, because my heart rate's at 105 now, so I need to concentrate.
Yep, definitely. Good luck, Russ. Enjoy, sort of, kind of. So great to catch you up with Russ there. Let's dive back into the ride. We're just riding in at the moment with Nick Dorsey at the moment as we go up on to the climb, and you can just see Nick out the saddle here, the best dressed man in cycling on that climb, and looks like everybody's on the climb going well. This is a route that is event only, so you can only go on to this climb and do this particular route and tick it off in the selection if you are actually riding it as part of an event. It's not been opened as an open event route to tick off, so you do have to do it as part of an event, which is one of the reasons why it's always popular. It's popular in terms of being ticked off, not popular in terms of riding, and as I regularly say, it is definitely the most tedious, boring, pain in the posterior climb I think I've done for a long time, and definitely on Zwift. It's not my favourite by any stretch of the imagination. However, tours are there because they have different terrains for everybody, and as you can see at the moment, the gang well strung out at the moment. One or two people just stretching the front of the gang out, and maybe stopping that signal being given. The back of the group just struggling to stay with it, so they do need to keep an eye on the screens and on those rear view mirrors. It's easy to look behind us. We have to just press 6 key. Amazing what happens when you change your camera angle. So a bit of OT on board for me, and let's see just how our ride's going. Looks like the front just backing off the pace a little bit, and you can just see this group back together again pretty much, and one or two riders just strung off the back here. Just going to take a little bit of a run back to see who is feeling the pressure at the back. It's easier said than done, it has to be said, so let's just jump in with Sonia Inslee. Now I know Sonia was going to be taking it nice and steady, so and has already said don't stay with her to the end of the show. Well, Sonia, I can't guarantee that. I know you're racing tomorrow, So let's have a little look. The Flint's in there. And Sonia is on. Tell me you're not on a TT bike, please, Sonia. That would be pure master. You're not on a TT bike. You might be in real life. Let's have a little look. Mr. Flynn on the climb here. I think Jim's got company from Mr. Coleman just behind him. So Paul Coleman and Jim Flynn. Looks like they are currently our Red Beacon group at the moment. Now let's take a little bit of a look. Sonia just up the road. Then it's Craig Genther sitting on the back of the group here. So looks like Craig just sitting here. He's got Gary License just pushing on past at the moment. So Gary in the orange just moving on up. And then it's Mr. Cootie, then Crosscast Neil all hovering around the back of this. Jeff Saysel in here. Looks like Mr. Keenan's in, Sean Ferrin in this group. And everybody just holding together. Nobody going too mad at the moment. Good to see Phil back here. Phil Ozuke in for the Sitwell gang. Russ is sat in the middle of this group at the moment. So remember, the Ven-Top starts in town, so you won't get a Ven-Top PB, but you will tick off the La Reine on this, and that takes some doing, it has to be said, because you can only get this on a group ride. So let's have a little run up to John Wild. I think John just sitting nicely in this bunch here. And the wall of shame goes up. 13 seconds up for Mr. Hurst and 16 seconds for Mr. Killingsworth off the front of the group by the look of the time checks on screen. In fact, you can just see them in the distance. So looks like Kai backing off the pace. After the finish, the blue banner is 1.2 kilometers. That's 1.2k warm down for the riders if they want to keep going to the end in first gear. It's we couldn't run it at 0.2. It's too close because of the differences. So basically, the fixed point that we use is there for a reason. It's there because it stays the same for everybody. So everybody comes together and crosses that same fixed point on your screens. Now, if you watch people's distances when they cross that line, it will have a massive variety. This will depend on the processing power, the internet speed, the way the game is played, the way your avatar rides. All of those things take an effect on the distance. So we have a fixed point, so it's the same for everyone. The blue banner can vary. So what we did is the blue banner is beyond, that's the warm down point. But because the distances vary, we need, generally we aim for about a 1 to 2k as the warm down. We try and get to the smaller end of that on an uphill finish. Quite simply because we don't want to put you through it too much longer. You do need to be able to warm down reasonably easy. If it's a downhill warm down or a flat warm down, you'll find it runs longer. Has the added bonus, of course, that you get a time check as you go over the finish on the screens on your left hand side. And guess what? It also means that we can follow you without getting spat out of the game. You'll notice that when we have a finish where we are on the time trial, or if we are on one of the Crit City races, actually when we get to the finish line, we can't go beyond it, and we disappear off out of the game into the standard world, while what we can do is stay in the road that little bit longer by having that warm down in it. So everybody wins, and more importantly, this is meant to be a training ride, and every training ride has got to have a warm down. We've got ours built in. So Mr. Runnit, just on the front, I love the fact that he now renews his membership as Simon, aka Sean Runnit, due to my consistent changing of his name. Both begin with an S, but I always get the wrong one. And as you can see, climbing nicely out of the valley, now up on towards the slopes of Ven-Top. And looks like Darrow's already getting ready to jump off and into the pool. I think he said he's going to fall off. I know about that because I know Darrell is one of our very quick riders. Now, just going to start rolling around the tail end of the group. Brad Cheeseman in here. Looks like Owen Davis holding in here. Tom Holmes in here. Cannon, Kiernan, Pritchard. He who shall. Oh, look at this. The two culprits together. The two that have caused the commissaires together. So this is Andy Hawes in the white and grey, and this is Mr. Langmead, another man who was getting in there. So our rider's looking good at the moment, in with Mr. Langmead here, and hopefully he's going to have it together to grab a picture on the way through. This gang just about holding together. Still one or two people a little bit twitchy on the front. Gately nicely in this pack, looking well, most of the group together on the front. Let's just roll this up towards the front here. So the front of the ride at the moment is Mr. Corby. And let's have a little look at Canham in here, Mr. Pearson and Varty in here, John Wild in here, Trevor Crehan in him, Sutcliffe, Atkinson in for the Cryogen team again, nicely nestled in there. Barry Kipling's back with us as well. Good to see Barry back on the ride there with the beard, and just keeping a little run down here. You can just see riders working the way up nicely here, and those gaps at the moment not opening up too much, and that's what we want to see. We do have riders just starting to disappear off the back of the group. Let's drop our way back through them at the moment. This is Sonia just off the back, so Coleman and Flynn riding nicely together. Then it's Inslee, then Craig gets just rolling at the back. Looks like Mr. Edwards of Shefrack in here as well. So Alistair Cootie in here, Owen Davis, looks like Mr. Hayward in together. Let's take a little look at Keith Hayward. Keith Hayward just engaging that little draft, just to try to stay with the group there. Caroline Mansfield putting in that feather flag at the moment. We're on that 10% slope as we come in and through these hairpins. Looks like Holmes in the back here as Russ just holding on to that group at the front. And 11% now as these riders come around this section. So Derby down in Wimble and Co. It's about 6 seconds from the front to the back of the actual bunch itself. And you can just see pretty much everyone still holding together nicely at the moment. So just drop back to Mr. Genther, sat nicely on the back here. So we've got Paul Coleman, we've got Mr. Flynn, we've got Sonia, and then we've got the back of the main group here. This is Hayward and Genther, and you can see it's just starting to ease out as we come past these turns here. The climb here, it is tough stuff. It just seems to go on forever when you're riding it. It certainly looks to me like all the usual guys all in together here, all of the regulars on the Chaingang. Johnny Two Dogs in here, looks like Mr. Crease in as well, Emsley in here. So let's have a little look at Mr. Mason in, so the gang in here. So everything still pretty smooth together, even though we're on that 10%. Let's have a little bit of a check. Neil's up here. Neil just sitting in nice and comfortably back onto the 10%. The steps keep on hitting these riders one after another at the moment. Mr. Simon Knight, looks like Darryl is in here as well. So let's have a little look. So it looks like Russ just sitting over the top, just moving up in front of Darren Shulwaller in the black here. This gradient really taking its toll on the rider's legs here, particularly if you've got your turbo trainer turned right up. It does allow you to push more watts out. There's the point at which if you have it turned right down, you just can't put enough watts against the resistance. But at the moment, everybody in here. Good to see Rob Wimbles here after racing in the National Mountain Bike Series on Saturday in some very tough conditions actually at the weekend. It was great to see another real life event and be on the mic once again here in the UK. But certainly from my point of view, definitely a very muddy, dusty and very grim weekend out for everybody. And those people who rode all power to you, absolutely amazing stuff. Just straight to the start line on that, it was so grim in some of the conditions. So Billy No Mates on the front here, that's got to be a record low, 27 revs per minute, 28 revs per minute. That is some going. Luke Handley just behind him, just sitting behind Billy. So just taking a little bit of a look from Billy No Mates back. So Simon Runnett saying it reminds him of the Edale side of Snake Pass. That's true, apart from the lack of big trucks rolling past your ears at 60 miles an hour, not quite making the corners, all the shed pulling caravan drivers going up there, or even the motorbikes doing about 200 miles an hour past your ear or so. Apart from the absence of traffic, yeah, it does have its similarities. 13% under the bridge. And Russ has just called go, go, go. That is mean. He's just called the go, go, go right underneath the climb here. And you can just see as we go into the tunnels here, Russ has just called it. That is absolutely mean stuff here. Let's see who is going to go hard. And it's Daryl Tatshall-Waller. We said he was going to be going well. So it's Tatshall-Waller who is leading the group up here. He's on his way. He's got Varty as well as Pines rider Kieran Brown on his heels. Looks like Lloyd chasing hard at the moment. So it's Daryl Tatshall-Waller in there, and just being passed now as Varty goes up into the lead. Varty was on the heels of the bear there as the go, go, go went. And as we come out of the tunnel, we're expecting to see it all over the place here. I don't think it's going to be very close together on the way through. Let's take a little bit more of a closer look in on the map if we can. And yeah, you can see it is a long string of riders here. So it's Barty in here with Lloyd just on the front. So Lloyd leading at the moment. Simon, you shouldn't have the energy to type, mate. You're meant to be giving it the go, go, go here. So it is Lloyd at the moment. Kieran Brown in that green jersey. Just coming along the side, starting to look menacing here. Kieran Brown goes on the front here. So it's now Kieran Brown leading this out. It's Kieran Brown leading at the moment on the front of this group. It is Lloyd in 2, Booth in 3, Varty in 4, Downing in 5, Wild in 6, Atkinson 7, Tatshall-Waller into 9, with Lindley moving up into 8 at the moment. Conley's putting a big kick in here to get himself up with the leaders. So Conley now spinning those gears. Remember, Conley's been right up there on some of these really tough finishes. He's been working really well, and great to see him join us. John Wild is in here, and John, of course, one of the older riders but competitive rider here. We've seen him in action regularly, and now on his way up here looks very, very smooth indeed. So good to see John Wild still in here. Now Booth is moving up, he's chasing Kieran Brown, who's starting to open a little bit of a gap here. They can't afford to let that happen. They can't afford to let Brown go with any kind of company or on his own. But Kieran Brown now tapping on. Remember, Kieran Brown, national level mountain biker, national level racer, national level cross rider, just starting to stretch this out. And a bit like we always say, it's no surprise to see riders like Mr. Van der Poel and co, the cross riders who race for about an hour, and the mountain bikers who race for about an hour and a half, to be able to put out big watts and big efforts in big kicks in short stretches. But what you find is that they generally struggle when it gets a little bit longer. Well, that's not always the case at the moment. Kieran Brown is leading this duo up this slope really well indeed. So it's Kieran Brown at the moment with Lloyd for company, and Lloyd now goes back on the front here. Is this going to be Lloyd's day here? We've seen him there or thereabouts, but Morgan Lloyd in the leading group at the moment of 2. And it's Lloyd and then Kieran Brown. Brown's gone again as it's gone on to the 11% section. But look at this response from Lloyd. Lloyd able to match it at the moment, up to 6 watts per kilo. Just kicking back in behind the chase is being led by Wild. So this is Wild. Then it's Atkinson in 4. Booth in 5. Then it's going to be Lindley in 6. A hot tip man for today. He's moved up to the level 25. So he's doing a lot of time on Zwift. Then it's Herring coming up on the outside. Conley, down to Shawwalla. Russ Downing seen just in front of Kieran Smith. Kieran Smith, regular rider right at the front, of course, a national hill climb medal winner. And we've got House, we've got Evans, Varty, Doxy again, regular mountain climber. And you've got Neil from the Crosscast in here. Obviously Killingsworth and Tristan. Then it is Mason. Mason doing a good job here, sitting right in there. Looks like 80 Dash, Camley, Osmond, Derby, Wimble, Ball, Corby, Pillsworth, Cooper, Runnett and Co. All stretched across this long slope, but up at the front of the slope it is Kieran Brown who is leading this group out as they come up here. And Brown at the moment looking good. You can see where the yellow beacon is as they come up on to this bridge, heading up towards the old monastery, going up towards the slopes. You can see Von2 rearing up in the distance. Remember, Charlie Reynard is at the break as you come out of the tree line. And just as you go up, if you keep following it up, you go past the Tom Simpson Memorial. Tom Simpson, of course, a regular rider around the areas of the old in the old days of the Chaingang, and of course great to see that his memorials are honoured on the slopes of the up here in the virtual world as well. So this climb here on Ven-Top replicates the monument to Tom Simpson as well as in the real life. So credit's done 0.8% and currently 13k to the summit, but remember we are going to be leaving that summit, and when we do so it is going to be into the through the banner at La Reine, which is the top of the La Reine climb, which is Chalet Reynard. So this is man number 3. This is John Wild. Wild now on his own. John currently 6 seconds on our leaders, 2 seconds in front of Conley. Conley sat just behind Conley you can see long train of riders. So behind Conley's Atkinson, Booth, Herring, Tatchell, Waller, all sat in that long line behind them at the moment. So going to be really close between these riders. Looks like we're a little bit further down now as the groups have opened up. Dean Evans on a good ride here, Tom Lindley doing a great ride as well. But these are the nearest group, a big group of chasers. So at the moment it's Brown in 1, Lloyd in 2, these two not separated by anything. Then John Wild in 3, Conley in 4, Atkinson in 5, Booth, Herring, Tatchell, Waller all close. Will House just coming through there in the black with the white jersey. And looks like all of these riders at the moment giving best to the riders on the front, and it is still Kieran Brown who is leading up Lloyd as the funicular railway comes up on the side of the riders. You can just see the 2 riders now going well up into the stratosphere. They're heading up towards the cloud level at the moment. Remember, the line of the trees, tree level on the side of Mont Ventoux is the indicator of how far we're going, but these 2 riders looking good. You can see that tree line, the vegetation line up in front. That's how high they've got to climb. We've got a long way already, 1100 meters of climbing to cover in total on La Reine, and we'll see if they are going to hold it together as they get into the top. So these are 2 riders clear at the front. They've got the gap at the moment. Can they stay clear at the front? It looks like at the moment there's a slight gap opening here between Kieran Brown and Lloyd. You just see here Lloyd pushing on to get onto the back of the wheel here of Pines rider. Is Kieran Brown, 6, Brown on the front, Lloyd in 2, Wild then in 3. Then it's Conley in 4, Atkinson in 5, Herring in 6, Booth in 7. It's Howes in 8, it's Smith in 9, Doxy in 10. It's Darryl Tatchell, one of the men who's heading through the pool immediately after this. Behind him then it's Evans, Lindley, Mason, Downing, Then it's Neil from the crosscast, Simon Knight, Dench being distance here, that's the big surprise. Tristan from Harrogate, maybe just wanting to do a little bit more ruler type rather than just straight climb. Simon running on a great ride here, and looks like Chris Ball on his heels. Pillsworth, Osman, Tim Cooper in here as well. Thank you very much, Tim, for the tech advice today. We've been doing a little bit of digging and a little bit of work together today, which is great. Not with a spade, but with the old keyboards. Then Mr. OCK behind, then it's Tim Corby, Luke Hanley, Carl Kapinski, and they're going to have looks like Owsley, Gately, Richardson, Rourke, Oral, Samuel, Pearson, Dr. D having issues with dropouts and having a glitchy ride. It's always in that internet signal. It's very rarely in the computer. Get it hardwired in. Hardwire. Can't say enough. Now, just up in front, just seeing the gap start to open. 10 metres at the moment between Kieran Brown and Morgan Lloyd as they come up past the next milestone. Brown continuing to push that 5.4 watts per kilo. Now let's have a little look. Lloyd now out of the saddle. His heart rate 196. What's Brown's heart rate? 79. Oh my goodness, Kieran. Now I somehow think Kieran's Brown heart rate is not 79. We've seen it at 200 plus. So let's have a little look here. It looks like Brown up there. That's definitely not Kieran's heart rate. That's for sure. I know it's higher than that because yeah, it's going to be a heart rate error for sure. It looks like Mr. Lloyd there. 199, that's really high, but that is probably about accurate. Coming up here, you got an older rider like John Wild, got the 168, 169. Wild on a great ride here, sitting in third place. Booth here, pushing it on just in front. Atkinson start on the wheels now. Who's got it right? Who's got the pacing right? Who's struggling? Doxy still looking smooth. And Doxy on the charge here, just coming up to the front of this group. And I think Doxy, if you look at this group, he's just pulled onto the front. He could well be starting to stretch that lead out. You can just see he's sitting at 5.1. He knows how far there is to go. He's going to be working out how much he needs to do to bring them back. Doxy's a quick rider, the Ilkeston rider. Very quick. He's got 41 seconds to Kieran Brown to make up. And then 2 seconds behind is Lloyd. Then it is Wild. And Wild 22 seconds in front of Doxy. Then it's Doxy. Doxy pushing on here. He's got Atkinson behind him. Currently showing us a second. It's about 15 metres. Then it's Booth, Conley, House, Herring. Then it's Mason. And followed by Kieran Smith, Darrata, Shawwaller. Then it's Evans, Downing. Lindley's on the heels here of Russ Downing, and Tom Lindley, the youngster, definitely pushing on Russ. It's great to see Russ is going to pace Tom up here. And that is good stuff. Russ doing the job there in that yellow beacon, sacrificing his right to ensure that Tom gets up. Neil sees the advantage of that as well. So Neil from the crosscast, I think, may well be just giving them a little bit of a helping hand there. You've got Simon Knight coming up to make this a group behind. Then it's AD Dench. You've got Derby running. They got Tim Cooper in there. Mr. Pillsworth in here. Looks like Rob Wimble just distanced a little bit here. Kapinski, Sam Emsley as well. And this group keep on dropping. The time is absolutely being inserted in here. It's been smashed in with that big hammer because you just see the gaps open up really quickly. Now House is working well here. Good to see Will House pushing on so well here, and he's sat right on the back of that group to come up along the lake here. The leaders are well strung out in front. If we jump across to Kieran Brown, Brown has the gap on everyone else. That little figure back in the distance. Well, that is Lloyd. Another K goes there. Another marker post goes in as we keep on pushing up. Lloyd comes up to that same marker post, and so gives you the average gradient as you go round, an average of 10.4. Next up is Wild, just on his way into that same corner. A bit further down, they can see the buildings in the distance here. You've got Atkinson sat on the wheel of Conley. Booth is in there. Doxy, after that quick push, reabsorbed in housing here. This group of four very close together, just distancing Mason, Herring, and then it's Kieran Smith just coming round the corner line up with Darrata Shaw still on that turn at the bottom. All these riders left chasing this man. Kieran Smith, the young man from, Kieran Brown, the young man from Sherwood Pines, sat on the front of this group. So Brown looking good at the moment on 51 minutes on his way up this climb. It's a tough old climb, and looks like Mr. Stones is all in. I'm not surprised, but it's tough stuff. And I think unless you are a super skinny climber, this is going to be really, really grim. Now Lindley just trying to hold the wheel here of Downing. We jump our way up towards the front. Well, it looks to me like Brown now starting to go well clear here of Lloyd. Lloyd on this corner. It's a nasty, nasty corner, this. As you come around the turn, it changes gradient all the way around. The turbo kicks up and down on the way around it. You just see it dropping back down to 5% as it goes around onto these longer slopes. But so you can see everybody chasing hard behind. So Lloyd going well here, 68 where's minute. Kieran Brown still ticking along nicely here, just in from Wild here, working to close him down, but it's a big old gap. You can see Lloyd in front now. That gap's coming down between Wild and Lloyd. It's not much, it's just about 8 seconds. If we look at Lloyd at the moment, 67 revs a minute. We take a little bit of a look at Wild. He's at 57, so less revs. Doxy at the moment kicking along at 74. Atkinson's revs 80. Conley's at 82. Sorry, Conley's at 80, Heading's at 82. Boo's at 60. Outside pushing hard. Mason at 94 really is revving his way up here. Just making sure he doesn't go too far into the red. All left chasing this one. This is Sherwood Pines at rider Kieran Brown. Brown pushing his way up towards the tree line, inexorably gaining height here as he makes his way up the climb. He's soon going to be coming in and across the river again, and these slopes up on top of his stuff. Mr. Herring, my idea, mate, unlucky. Take full blame for this one. Or you could blame the tour organisers, of course, because the organisers of the tour have a classic format that we did try to emulate to in tribute to the tour, and one of the ways that we could do that was to have a very similar format, so having the kit. So Craig, not even hearing me, he's zoning out, unlucky buddy, or very lucky, depending on your point of view. As we take a little bit of run. Dean now is just kicking in that flag. Atkinson chasing Doxy at the moment. Doxy up the road. Wild is at 23 seconds. He's got Lloyd down to 4 seconds now. So Lloyd is going to see him coming in his rear view mirror. I think that gap could stretch again, but here comes Wild behind him. There's only 4 seconds between these two riders. He's next to nothing on the road at the moment. And you can just see coming up onto the bridge Kieran Brown at the moment. So Brown onto this bridge at the moment, and he has the lead behind, though. The junction could be made very shortly between the two riders here. And this is Lloyd that we're watching at the moment. Chase is on behind, and the chase coming from John Wild. John Wild getting that gap down to 3 seconds. So here comes Wild in pursuit. Is he going to make that catch? It's going to be any second now as he comes in. He's going to be taking that wheel and trying to hold it. If you look at the relative power, John Wild sitting at 5.1. I think Lloyd knows he's about to get caught here. He's watching. Great climb there by John Wild. Definitely deserves a ride on. And for Mr. Lloyd for holding him off so long. But if we take a little bit of a look back, you can see behind, Wild's now got him at 2 seconds, and Lloyd is now responding. I think there was a little bit of resting going on there. They're both giving ground to this man. This is Kieran Brown on his way up there, right up with Kieran, that is for sure. Then it's Lloyd, then it's Wild. So here we go, Wild on the heels here of Lloyd, pretty much all together. Just watching Lloyd here, you can just see, if we look behind him, the riders are coming together here. They're 26 seconds down. As you come over this bridge, it kicks again as you come up away from the river. There's still plenty of climbing still to come. If you look at the side there, you've got basically non-stop climb all the way up here. So it's Brown in the front, then it is Lloyd into Wild in 3, closing onto his heels here, and then we're going to take a drop back in a second, but at the moment it's like Lloyd about to get caught here by Wild, and you're just going to see him coming into view on the right hand side of your screen at the moment. So here he comes, John Wild, sat almost on the heels here of Lloyd. Lloyd kicking again, and these are the riders really in the fight for second and third places, with 27 seconds back to Doxy and over half a minute up to a Brown. This is a battle for second and third. Doxy though in a real fight for that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place decider. Anybody from Doxy, Atkinson, Mason, Booth and Conley could be in that fight, that's for sure. So here we go, Wild on to the heels here of Lloyd. So you can just see he's moving up alongside him. Here he drops back again. So Russ just asking, is the Abbey is Bolton Abbey? The answer is no. You are allowed to get across the bridge here in Swift. It's Bolton Abbey. The Devonshire's Devonshire would be aggrieved that you were going across and spending all your money in your scrappy. You wouldn't be going over the bridge with your bike, even if you were walking it. So that's now become a dirty word in cycling. Bolton Abbey, that is for sure. Got to the buffers at the top of the hill above it. Great cafe, great food, really nice people. Much better. Right, Kieran Brown, well on his way through here, looking good, coming up into the rapids here. So looks like Brown just coming through the rapids and starting to stretch that lead. Now he's at 39 seconds. Wild just coming into that same section, just about to start making his way into the rapids. He's only got a couple of meters on the chaser behind. That chaser is Lloyd, and look at this, Lloyd now jumping on the heels, sitting in with Wild. This could get very tight indeed as we come onto those upper slopes. So at the moment it is Brown leading in 1, Wild in 2, Lloyd in 3, Doxy is in 4, Atkinson in 5, Mason is in 6, Booth is in 7, Conley in 8, Simonite in 9, Evans in 10, Herring in 11, Dench in 12, Downing in 13, Run at 14, Crosscast Neil 15, Kieran Smith 16, Lindley 17, Dowta Sean Waller 18, there's been 90 for Pillsworth, those are Kane 20, Derby 21, House pulled up there 22, and soon going to lose that. Osman 23 at the moment, 24 for Ball, 25 for Cooper, 26 for Wimble, 27 for Richardson, 28 for Pritchard, 29 Gailey, 30 Kapinski, 31 Dorsey, it's going to be 32 for Edwards, 33 for Billy Nomates, 34 for Charles, 35 for Cecil, 36 Corby, 37 for Handley, it's going to be 38 for Pearson, 39 for Richarl, 40 for Emsley, 41 for Kipling, 42 for Manning, 43 for Rowe, 44 for Gillingsworth, 45 for Dubash, 46 for Holmes, 47 for Greenaway, 48 for Samuel, 49 for Johnny Light, 50 for Catley, 51 for Donahue, 52 for Cheeseman, 53 for Taylor, 54 Sutcliffe, 55 Felton, 56 Kieran, 57 Cannon, 58 is Ted, 59 is Langmead, Lone Rider is 60 with Mr. Stevens, 61 Crease, 62 Clark, 63 Crehan, 64 Carolyn Mansfield, 65 Genther, 66 Barnard, 67 Cannon, 68 Finney, 69 Briggs, 70 Cutie, 71 Ferren, 72 Johnson, 73 Hayward, 74 Kerrigan, 75 looks like Morn, 76 77 Davis, 78 for Cooper, 79 is Hurst, 80 is Beefy, 81 is Inslee, 82 is Coleman, and 83 is Flynn. But our leader, right at the other end of the field, is this man, Kieran Brown, leading out alongside the river at the moment. So Brown continues upwards. Then it is a Wild. Then it's going to be Lloyd's. Lloyd's still at 2 seconds here. There's nothing to choose between these guys. Then it's Doxy now sitting reasonably comfortably into that 4th place with 11 seconds back to Atkinson. Just see Doxy just in front. Another 8 seconds back then to Mason, the fat cyclist. Then it is Booth. Now Booth is only a couple of seconds off. Booth could close that down if he's got the power. That could come back together again. Remember, it's the top 10 spot with these riders working well now. It's certainly doable for Booth to close that gap down as he starts to go in and under the trees. You can see Mason in between the branches here. Now Conley is in pursuit, coming out from those rapids. Simonite is on his heels, and Simonite's riding strongly again. Then it's Evans, followed by Dench, then it's Herring, and then Downing is right on his heels here. So it looks like Craig is going to get caught by Downing. So good riding by Craig, not going to be his day, right up on the front. The question is, can he get a hook in to Downing as he comes past and hitch a ride on him? Or will he be pushing on the way? Looks like Russ just back right off those. Russ just gone pop. So look, Russ just taking a bit of a breather there, just let him go. So look at this, Simon running, Craig Herring, Eddie Dench and Russ Downing all in what is effectively a quartet of riders on the slopes here, working well together. Then it's going to be Kieran Smith just in front of Neil from the crosscast, and Tom Lindley, another 3 riders all together. So Mr. Run It, I did warn you, it's interminable, it goes on forever. Everybody who is in the Donny Chaingang supporters club, who are members of the DCG gang, well, do you know what? They get the advantage of having the advantage of this. Suppose you're getting my thoughts on each of these stages in the members' email to them. It's only a paragraph or 2, but try and give people a bit of forewarning of what is in front of them. A bit like you getting a road manual quite often from race organisers. Oddly enough, we put in what we think in there too, and certainly looks like Kieran Brown has got this pretty dialed at the moment, coming up to the next hairpin turn. So Brown looking good at the moment. He certainly looks like he's got this climb down. He's going to come away over the river, then he's going to be sweeping back round again. And you can see really is continuing to push on. He's not all that far from the top. You can see he's just coming into this exposed slope section, so starting to come out of the tree, so it's always an indicator that you've not got too far to go. And you can just see he's got a couple of right hand turns now. He's coming onto those more exposed slopes, not completely out of the trees yet, but it is the more sparse woodland that he's on at the moment. So we're going to be coming around that turn and pushing on up here on the climb here of Ven-Top. Remember, we are on the Larienne climb, the course of Larienne, finishing at the Chalet Reine mark, and this is about where you saw Chris Froome running. Well, no running today for this man, and he might as well be flying up here, because Kieran Brown, well, he's soon going to see that gantry coming up in front of him. And we're just going to shift our map view across here to pick up the finishing line. You can just see the trees thinning as you get up to the top of this climb. It is absolutely brutal. So you've got another 11% here as you kick up into this next turn around. Remember, our riders finishing when they hit the blue banner, but the finishing the riders as far as DCG and positioning is concerned is when we come up to the Chalet Reynard banner, the KOM banner for Chalet Reynard. Don't forget, of course, that it has its own Strava segment, which is separate to the segments being used for the whole of the climb. But a little bit further back looks like Wild and Lloyd still working hard, but Kieran Brown on his way up here. He's going to catch a view very shortly of just how far he's got to go. So you can just see the gantry just peeking out top left hand side of your screen now. Just going to get our drone switched across as he comes into this hairpin turn. You can see the banner over here. What time is Kieran going to come across here in? Kieran, I think he's going to hit this inside of 1 minute and 8 seconds. He's got about 40 seconds to make it to the line in from the barriers, but this is going to be man number one. Big push, 10 watts per kilo from Kieran Brown as he comes on and underneath the gantry here. Great ride. Kieran Brown comes through. 1 hour, 7 minutes, 35 seconds. I'm not surprised he's quickly off those pedals. Great riding by Kieran Brown there. And Kieran now just going to do some serious recovery. What a great ride by him as he came in to the finish. Now you can see it wasn't all that far behind to our next rider on his way up here. This is John Wild. Wild has the gap behind him, so Wild was working well there. Lloyd is not all that far back either, and Lloyd 30 seconds down on Wild. Then it's Doxy, and then it's Atkinson. Then Mason doing a great ride again here today, showing that if you sit there and pedal, it's about getting the power down in front. So Kieran finishing off his ride by rolling on upwards. We are now in with Wild. Wild, a fellow viewer, a man who's got all of the stats, and got to admit, being a commentator and doing it for a living, I have the advantage and the support of the guys at fellow viewer by giving access to the commentary feeds and the streams for the and the stats for the Tour de France. Is a specific section if you work within cycling that you can actually get into if you're granted access, and very honoured to have that for the Tour de France. It does mean that my stats on this tour are absolutely second to none, because I use the same system that Pro Tour teams use, and that system is invaluable for the professional teams. Guys at Fellow Viewer mapping it all out, and got to say a massive thank you to Ben Lowe and all the guys at Fellow Viewer. Without them, we don't get these great graphics, and their support has been invaluable. A big thank you to them, and great to see their riders in action with John Wild here out of the saddle on his final push in towards the line now. So Wild on his way to the line. Remember, we saw Kieran Brown come inside of 1 minute and 8, 1:07:30 sub. This is going to be, I think, a 1:10. He's not going to make it in the next 8 seconds to the line, so it's going to be a 1 hour 10 for Reine. And I suspect that it's still a quick time for John up here. It was pretty brutal once Kieran got on the front, but Wild overtaking second place. Lloyd tried to go with our race leader in there, so looks to me like it's going to be Wild's our next man in here. So great riding by John as he comes in through the line and over the finish here in second place. So let's drop back to our third place rider now. This is Lloyd on his way up here. Lloyd onto those final slopes here. Lloyd with the 12 seconds on Doxy. So Lloyd tried to go with Kieran Brown. He tried to push on with our eventual winner. It wasn't to be today, but doing a great job. And it's going to be Morgan Lloyd who's going to come across here, taking that third place spot. So Lloyd comes through. Great ride by Lloyd there. Well done, bud. Taking third place there. So Lloyd puts in a great ride. Now the warm-up to come behind him. Doxy comes. First man on a standard Tron bike. A bike that normally gives you the advantage today. A bit of a disadvantage, but Doxy loving the bike, so keeps the same avatar kit and colours, makes life a little bit easier on the commentary as well. So it is going to be James. Doxy comes through, so Doxy comes through for fourth place here today. Good ride by James. Behind him then is going to be Atkinson. Atkinson currently in 5th place, but he could get company quite quickly if we take a little bit of a look behind. I think Mason just too far behind, but Mason's got a massive turn of speed, and can he use it, or has he used it all up on the way through? You can just see here that Atkinson from Cryogen holding a nice steady pace, 80 arrests per minute. Now Atkinson is kicking, he doesn't want to get caught. You can see the line is coming, and here comes the gantry. It's coming up, and Atkinson is going to come through. Top 5 for Atkinson, a 5th place as he comes in through the finish. And that means 6th place is going to go to a man we more associate with the fast flat stages. However, getting the power down today on the climbs. So Gareth Mason doing a storming ride there for 6th. Now Booth in 7th place at the moment. I think pretty secure in that position as Mason feels his legs explode. Up some job holding his carcass up there. But the one and only Phil Liggett. So Booth here now putting the pressure on those pedals, looking to stretch the gaps out behind him. He's working well here. He is going to come through. It's going to be an 8th place here. He comes in. You've seen that big push coming in. Good riding. So great ride by Booth. He comes through, being chased here by Simonite. Simonite working well. He's gone through on the rest of the group here. Some great rides being done behind, and these guys really are working. We know that Simonite is quick. Paul Simonite of High CC, really quick on the hills. Doing a great job coming through the line there in 1 hour 11:57. Just beating the 1 hour 12 mark now. Craig Herring is behind here. He's got down, and then Simon running behind him. The indicator is basically as you come round into the open and the trees start thinning, it's not the hairpin with the river, it's the hairpin after the river. That is the easiest way to work out and remember where you are. As we see Herring on here now, immediately behind him. It's only about 14 seconds back to Russ Downing, 16 to 80 Dench. So Herring comes in and through. He's in 1 hour 12 minutes 33 seconds. Now we don't just drop down here because this is a bit of a busy group down here. We've got Russ Downing in here. Now Russ has done a good ride. We expect that from Russ, but look at this. This is Simon Runnett, and Runnett is trying to hold the wheels of Dench here. Dench we know is an amazing rider. He's got a super fast man. So he's quick, but look at this. This is for me ride of the day so far. It is Simon Runnett coming through. Runnett puts in a great ride up there. Somebody who's got quicker and quicker with every Chaingang. It's a great riding by Simon Runnett. He comes through inside that 15-minute mark, as does Aidy Dench, as does Russ. You know, let him get the legs back before we even think about talking to us. Evans comes through just inside the 1 hour 15, so good riding by Evans. Some fantastic riding there, guys. Brilliant to see the gang up there. And our next rider is going to be Conley. Conley, one of our newer riders to the Chaingang, but somebody who is improving again all the time. So Evans and able to deliver the pace on the very top of the climb there, up and round the corner, but Conley comes through. Great riding by Conley here as he comes into the finish here. Great riding, and that was a good pace up there. So good riding there by Martin Conley. And behind him it's going to be a bit of a two up here. We've got Kieran Smith just putting in a big dig. He's just gone for it. He's caught Daryl Waller napping there. So Kieran now pushing on here on deep rims here, which is not always the best option on the climb, but looks like Kieran is going to come through. So Kieran comes through, and 1:16 for him. Then it's going to be Tatishal Waller behind him. So Tatishal Waller's going to be our next rider in through the gantry. Tatishal Waller comes in at 1:16.12. Good riding by Daryl. We do expect a picture of you in the pool, mate. Daryl says as soon as he's finished warming down, he's diving in the pool. Next up is Crosscast Neil. Now remember, Neil, of course, we're from week 1 with that fantastic picture of the punctured tyre, jumping back on, fixing it and getting back onto the bike once again. Neil comes through 1:16.24 for Neil, as we're going to see Greg Pillsworth, the next rider up. So Pillsworth, the next rider coming into the line. Good riding there by Pillsworth as he comes through the line of 1:16.40. And it's going to be Phil Ozk. Phil, of course, Lee Mean riding machine, heads up over the line now. He's got a gap on this man. This is a youngster. This is Tom Lindley on his way up. So Lindley, then Pritchard, Derby, Ball, Dorsey, Cooper, Osborne and Billy Nolan. They are the respective order coming in. I'm loving all the exclamations as all the riders come through the line. Neil's managed to get 3 letters down. OOF. So oof, I'm not surprised because that is tough stuff. Now Lindley's our next riding. Just see Gantry's in sight. The slopes of the Von 2 rise up in front and behind. You can see the slopes a long way down to the valley floor below. In fact, it is 1100 meters down to the bottom. Tom now pushes in and he saved his feather for the very end. What a man. That must have been tempting to use earlier. He's not done it. Is he going to make that 8? Oh, he makes the 18-minute cut-off as well. Good riding, Tom, and saving that feather for the right moment there. He could have maybe put it fractionally earlier, but you know what? It got him inside that 1 hour 18. Tom, absolute star. That is for sure. Now, next up is going to be Pritchard. Pritchard's going to be our next rider coming up. So Pritchard currently at 3.9 watts per kilo. Pritchard's going to come in, and Pritchard has a short distance to a late joiner here, so we don't know his full time up and through. Judging by the other riders, it's going to be about a 1:18.15. Boy, he's nearly forgetting his photo. Don't be doing that. Remember, guys, you need to get your photo in. You need to make sure it's a picture of the rider on the way through. So good riding by Chris Darby. Still in there. I'll give you loads of ride-ons. I don't know. So Ball, next rider on his way up the slopes here. Chris Ball regular on the Donny Chaingang. Great to see Chris in action again. And Chris coming up into the gantry. Good finish by Chris ahead of Nick Dorsey and Tim Cooper. So Ball comes through inside 1:19 and 1:18.56. And Dorsey, I think, is going to be on 19:30 or so. Known as the best dressed man in cycling. He's certainly looking stylish today, and never looks as stylish, of course, as when he's in his gritty kit. So Dorsey on his way up the slopes, goes in underneath the gantry there. Good riding, Nick. And it comes through, heading off into the warm down as Cooper approaches the line. So Cooper's our next rider in. So Cooper out of the saddle, sprints in through the line, 9.4 watts per kilo. Absolutely tough stuff for everybody up there. And next up is going to be Osmond. So Osmond, next rider in through the line. And good to see Russell Osmond coming in to finish. Good riding, Russell. Then it's going to be Jeff Saysel. Saysel's got Edwards on his wheels from Chef Rex. So it's going to be Jeff Saysel coming in just in front. Then it's going to be Edwards. So Edwards is the rider just behind, so Saysel goes past, and here comes Edwards now. Edwards putting in a great ride on his way through. Then we're going to drop back to Richardson, Keith Richardson, another of our regulars on his way up here, 1:20.32 for Keith Richardson. Billy Nomates coming in, and Billy's going to come up over the line here. It's going to be 3.5 watts per kilo or so for him. This comes through 1:20.43. Shelley Childs is on his way in. Shelley, I thought you were meant to be taking it easy, buddy. So here he goes. Through the line it goes Shelley Childs. So Shelley puts in a good ride there. Next up is going to be Rourke. So Rourke's our next rider to the line, and looks like Dominic Rourke is going to come through. Dominic Rourke's time just outside that 1:21.08. Now this is going to be a real quick spin in, because Rob Wimble has just gone over the top of Pearson here. Pearson's got a sprint on him though. He's not having it. Pearson hasn't worked all that way for nothing. Oh, that's how to make somebody ride in that final, say 1:21.31 and a 1:20 and 1:35 for Pearson and Wimble respectively. Good riding there. And next in is going to be Carl Kapinski. Carl out of the saddle here. And don't forget, make sure you go onto the Karl Kapinski pages online. Some great artwork, and you can get hold of it. It's really easy. Just put Karl Kapinski into Google, and some fantastic artwork in there now. Looks like Malin, our next rider on this fantastic climb up here. Malin is on his way through to the finish. He's going to go in ahead of Kipling and Dubash, Oral Greenway, handling Killingsworth at the moment. So puts the feather in just at the very top of the line, coming in to the gantry, and through goes Paul Malin. Good ride by Paul, 1:22.22. Next up is going to be Mr. Kipling. Exceedingly good ride by Barry as he comes into the finish. So good ride by Barry, going to drop across next to Dr. D. That looks to me like the Doctor's going to be our next rider in, and I think we're going to get have Rich Orrell and Mr. Greenway, and then we may well have some of our early escapees on the way in. It looks to me like Dubash on his way to the line here. Good finish by Brian Dubash, 23.12 for him. Rich Orrell not too far off the back wheel of Dubash, so Orrell's going to come through with the 1:23 as well. Greenaway is going to come in, and Greenaway is the rider, oddly enough, in the green. So Greenaway goes through at 1:23.33, and Luke Hammer's right on his heels here, but Genther's going to have him. Yeah, he does. Genther just takes Luke Handley on the line there. Then it's going to be Killingsworth on his way up here. And it's going to be Colby, Holmes, Donahue, and Gang. We're going to drop in with Russ. Russ, that was rather hard work. We just see Mike Killingsworth on his way up towards the line, and you can see Mike's heart rate right up at 166. I think everybody's heart rate through the roof.
Yeah, you know, I was on tonight there. It was great riding by all. I think I might actually get disqualified there. I don't even know if I crossed through the blue ghost banner before I press U-turn. So, yeah, I'll hold my hand up for that. The commissaires can DQ me, I don't care.
I don't think I'd have gone to the blue. I'd have turned around and rolled back down again on that one. If you go up there, it is absolutely tough stuff, isn't it? As Tim Corby and Tom Holmes come through the line there. Johnny Two Dogs is on his way in here. Johnny Lightfoot, of course, he's probably high as a kite on fumes coming up here, so he should be able to get up quite comfortably.
Yeah, he's been busy, I think, lately. I've seen he's been doing a few days actually at work and not on his bike, so yeah, he probably is. Yeah, high as a kite on blue, on paint or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. His heart rate is 187, but his revs there were about 100. He was absolutely flying on his way up there. Now, Vin Donahue's on his way. Good to see Vin here, who's doing some early pacing for Linley, who came in with a really quick time there. So good to see Vin come through. Quickly off on the pedals, it has to be said. Don't blame him. I don't think anybody's pushing on very hard as soon as they come across the line. And that was some ride by Kieran, who we know is an absolute class act.
Yeah, he's great tempo, you know, all the way up there. I think he was 4 or 5 watts per kilo, and I was going all right for a bit, and then had a bit of a blow, and then helped Tom out a bit, and then had a play with with Craig Simon. Running did a ride, you know. He was asking me to wait, and then that's when I just started to. I wasn't going slow, you know, but I really stepped off the gas, and it was 50 seconds down at that point, and then he caught us. So, you know, what a ride! And then he held 4.5 watts for the last, I don't know, 6-7K at that. So, you know, he was one who was moaning on if it went, well, not moaning on, but, you know, at 2.5 watts per kilo, he was getting dropped in the early days. So, you know, what a ride he's done there to get over that climb.
Yeah, definitely put in a fantastic performance there, and I'm really impressed by just how quick he was moving. Can't wait to see the state afterwards. So it's going to be interesting to see the pictures that will open at the end of the broadcast. The thread on the Facebook pages. Ian Taylor comes in towards the line. Ian doing a great job, and of course the man behind so many of our promotions here on the Donny Chaingang for the members of the DCG gang, the supporters club, and a massive thank you to Ian, and again putting in a great ride.
Yeah, Ian's super guy, at donating giveaways of that. Absolutely rubbish at tech, so we won't be getting a picture post out of him. So just thanks for doing what you do best, Ian, and coming up with the goods. So thanks a lot, Ian, at 1080. And you all got a lot to thank Ian for over the last year or so. I haven't got a clue what he's doing on the tech, but he's a generous man. So thanks a lot, mate.
He's indeed, and his knowledge of Oakley's is absolutely astounding. And going back years, going back decades, it's absolutely spot on. And quick reminder, everybody, if you are going in through the finishing line, please make sure you get a picture. The rules for the members are on the email. It goes out to all the members. The key things that we are looking for, what it can and can't be, has been on there since day one. So please make sure you do so. Mr. Langley, don't be disheartened. Make sure you get your pictures on. You never know what you might find happens in the future. Good to see Mick Clark on his way up here. Mick, another of our stalwarts really on the Donny Chaingang, a real regular on the gang, and somebody who I would expect to finish all 6 stages pretty comfortably, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been going for a while, and it's the guys who have just improved so much. So that's what I love about the gang. Everyone can take a kicking and that, but they just keep coming back, and it's great to see the improvement. And we all look after each other. I think that was very good tonight. We did say keep it together till the Petit Coem, and then we went even further, and it was a good tempo at the bottom of the climb. Squeezing up round 3. There's a few squeezing over, but nothing surgy. So we let it run, and then we went for it. In the darkness of the tunnel where everyone had their eyes shut, I just thought, it's a good. It's now on.
I thought that was a bit mean. I have to say, giving the go in the tunnel. But I tell you who else has done a ride here. Brad Cheeseman. Brad's basically new to the chain gang. He's new pretty much to Zwift. And do you know what? He's done a cracking ride here because he's up here in front of some of our real regular riders here. We've just got Ted coming into the line now. Great ride by Ted coming up here. 1 hour 29 on the clock for Ted. That sounds quite short to me because I think we're going to see most people rolling around. But he's another great ride, and as Vinny said, another student of the gang in Mansfield. I'll tell you something, Mansfield's the place to go at school, clearly, because you get to ride the Donny Chaingang and talk about it at school. Yeah,
me and Swifty were close by there, Mansfield way the other day, so we should have called in and thanked Vin for getting all the class on the gang. But yeah, cheers Vin and some of the riders. Like I said, Brad is it? Cheeseboard. He's 3 weeks somewhere. He's probably riding in his bloody flip flops or something. Like Tom was riding 90 mile in a pair of trainers. So it's great to see, and I'm sure they'll go even faster throughout the winter.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the aim might be to get just hear from Vin that actually gets shown in class as well. So big hello to everybody there, and get yourselves on the Chaingang. We can guarantee you a mention or two, that's for sure. Now, just seeing, we're going to jump across to Caroline Mansfield. Now, Caroline from Gritty, I know, was on her feet at stand with the Gritty gang all through the weekend. And, of course, Gritty giving away some black Gritty socks to everyone who finishes all 6 stages and qualifies for that prize package that's coming out. And Gritty have been really good. I mean, we came in with them and they were a brand new brand. And it's been really good to see just how many of the chain gang have been embracing the clothes. And I saw Sarah Grimshaw was riding the National Mountain Bike Series in a full Gritty kit at the weekend. And it was great to see it out there.
Yeah, that's good. Like I say, we put this competition on for the Tour de France. I think Ben Jenkins at Grand Tour Coffee was the first person to say, I'll support it. It's just grown and grown. So the giveaway goodie packs, they're going to be big. So you might have to come and collect them with a truck or something. The amount of people that are backing it. Companies, it's been great, and we give everyone a great shout out when all the prizes are finally dished out. So as for those Musketeer Muppets or whatever, we'll let them be, and see if anything else comes of that.
Well, I think people can work out who's race organizer, Mr. Happy, and who's race commissaire, Mr. Grumpy. Out, you and me out of that one, that's for sure. Let's see what happens on that front, and I can't wait to see the next instalment. And you know, it's worse than the D'Artagnan cartoon that you used to get back in the 80s and 90s. So between those three, so lots more riders coming.
Yeah, the Coronation Street, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit, you know, handbags at dawn, but we'll see. Now, lots more riders coming in. With Caroline, just came across Matt Crease, just seen Alistair Cootie come through. We've got Mr. Cannon coming in. Neil Moore's going to be the next of our riders. The Stellaton, of course, giving us more prices as well. They jumped in very early on, and they're adding some bottles. They do have quite a number of water bottles, so we, you know, to give away. It has to be said after their mass ordering, but they are class. They look really good. It's great colourway on them as well. And at some point, I think they're all going to be dumped round here. So if you see a studio full of water bottles, it's not me stocking up for you know, the wonders of global warming. It's quite simply because we've got the prizes coming from the gang at the Stellaton. And, of course, a big thank you to them. And Neil, of course, one of our recent Red Beacons as well. So supporting the Chaingang. Great to see the guys from the Thorpe Hesley area, the Stellaton cyclists, doing the business for us again.
Yeah, it's great. They're one of the ones who've come in since the prizes have been sorted and that, and the addition more water bottles out. And yeah, we all need water bottles, you know, especially thrashing up there for an hour and a half. You got to fill your water basket there, really, haven't you?
Yeah, you have indeed, and I've got to say, we can't, of course, discount the fact that we are going to be kicking out some bottles from the DCG, some special Donny Chaingang water bottles are going to be coming out to those people who qualify for that prize package. And you just saw Sonia Inslee putting in a dig. Beefy coming back from Cycleways trying to respond to that. But this is Sonia. Sonia's racing tomorrow on a hilly time trial. There's a regular Wednesday series in the Peak District, and Sonia has been racing all of them, including Launceston Edge last Wednesday. And you can see Sonia at the moment just on her way up in towards the finishing gantry at the moment. And great to see Sonia giving it the beans at the end of that ride, despite racing tomorrow.
Great warm-up, you know, a few little openers in there. She will be flying tomorrow, and what's it down to? It's down to the DCG, so, yeah, go on, Sonia, go and have a good ride again, and, yeah, we'll take the credit for it.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of natural talent in there as well. So just seen Chris Cannon come in after Colin from Cycleways, and next rider in is going to be Ken Kerrigan. Ken, somebody who bumped into you, I think, at the Otley Crip.
Yeah, bumped into him. Yeah, had a good chat to him there. I think it was just before I actually came on stage for you, Matt. So yeah, we had a good chat. You know, I met a few people there. I think I said on the last show, and it was good to meet people in real life. And like I said, hopefully we can have a proper IRL soon when we get a bit of time for actually organising it.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely manic at the moment because, of course, we've got the Donny Chaingang going all the way through twice a week. That's not stopping, and I know that obviously Russ and I, we have plans all the way into Christmas and beyond. And a big thank you to everybody who has been joining the Chaingang with a view that we are going to be here all the way into the winter as well. We're going to expecting to get some big numbers coming in. And irrespective of whether we do or not, the Chaingang won't change. The format is down, it's successful, and as long as we keep on getting your support, particularly through donating and joining the DCG gang, if you're admitted into it, then that, you know, we're going to be keeping on doing this. And I've got to say, it's definitely kept me sharp over the period before I went back into commentating in real life. And of course, fortunately for us, he doesn't have to race against anybody in real life anymore. But I think probably the DCG keeping the adrenaline going a little bit when it gets shut pointy end.
Yeah, definitely. You know, so everyone said what it's done for them over lockdown and all that, and it's kept me in the first year out of retirement, and I had numerous events planned and things, but the DCG's been great. You know, twice a week. I've missed two, have I? Since the start. So
I've lost two. Was it
I think
2 or was
two
it
and then
4?
two and then one with tech issues. So I think it's 3 since the start. So
yeah, I know. I dread to think. I think how many we've done, and I dread to think how many hours we've sent out onto YouTube over the last year. But it's been great, and we're looking forward, of course, to our next 3 stages. This brings our riders to the halfway point in the Tour de France tribute here on the Donny Chaingang, and we're going to let Russ destroy what's left of his pain cave by the sound of it. And
be in the kitchen now, mate. Just
that sounds. Oh well, it's cold bath for Russ. I'm going to continue, and we'll be bringing our riders home. Cheers, Russ.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Well, good to hear Russ just in with Briggs here coming into the line. So Carl Briggs. On a good ride here, kicking his way into the line. That's great to see. So well done to Carl, being chased here by John Finney. So Finney's going to be our next rider up into the finish, and as Russ says, going well on his way through. So good to see everybody is out on the ride. So Finney on his way up the climb here, working well into the finish. This is the halfway stage. We move on to our transition stage. Whilst they do in the Tour, they move from one set of mountains to another, and we are going to be doing exactly the same this week. So after our first of mountaintop finish here, as John Finney starts and goes through the line, as all of our roads come in to finish, the caravan will get into gear, and all of the infrastructure, all of the barriers and kit will be shifted across to the transitional stage. That is going to be Caspats. 2 laps of the Caspats circuit on Thursday. One of our favourites on the Donny Chaingang, and definitely one with plenty of lumps and bumps. It's not as flat and not as fast as we saw on Douce France on stage 2, but it will be heading out in the same direction as we traditionally head on Caspats. It's on the flat section first, finishing of course with that fantastically fast run down. So a downhill finish for Owen next time round, not the uphill finish which our riders are having to endure today. And that is going to be really interesting to see just who has the speed left on the way down. That is going to be stage number 3. Sorry, stage number 4. Then we are going to be moving on to stages 5 and 6 in week 3 into our second mountain on stage number 5 with some very iconic twists and bends. And then we're going to be into the final stage, stage number 6. The last of DCG in the 3 weeks of the 3-week Tour de France, and at that point we are going to be finishing off in Paris as you'd expect. Which way round? Well, will it be the standard way round, or will we just mix things up by pushing it the wrong way? The members of the DCG gang know, and everybody else will be finding out very shortly indeed. Don't forget, if you do want to get all of the links, all the insider info, get all of those discount codes for those extra discounts on all of the products from our fantastic supporters, and want to be in the gang, then donate to the gang. You either donate monthly or yearly. If you're accepted into the club, then to the supporters club, you'll go in. It's not guaranteed, not everybody makes the cut. We do look after our members, and we do have some pretty high standards we want people to meet, not in terms of performance but in terms of behaviour, and so it's a very supportive area, a supportive Facebook page, a Facebook page that looks after each other, and that community has looked after young riders, it's looked after older riders, it has helped people with their tech, it's done all sorts to help people over the period from the very first lockdown. I'm going to say a massive thank you to our riders and to people who are on the Facebook group pages, and of course to the members of the DCG gang. That atmosphere is amazing. We will continue to police that and ensure that those standards are upheld. So the finish line coming into sight for Darren Cooper now, just ahead of Jim Flynn and Paul Coleman, who are doing a 2 up the slopes of the Ven-Top into the Chalet Reine KOM point. That's the end of La Reine climb, the Queen stage of the virtual Tour de France, and of course the women's winner of the first stage of the women's Tour de France and the fourth stage of the virtual Tour de France, April Tace, of course a member of the DCG gang as well, and quite literally bumped into April down by the stage. Had the pleasure of bringing her up on stage as a prize winner, a podium rider at the Otley Crit, and good to catch up with April, and looking in fine form at Otley, and that sprint finish from her came in handy down in Otley, and of course homed on the Donny Chaingang as well. For those of you asking what are the plans for the Women's Wednesdays, well, they are likely to be back as we move into the winter. Just looking at the format and the commitment that is required, it does take a additional resource to make sure that is A, broadcast, and B, that we have the ride leaders and the ride management, the planning behind the scenes. Russ and I working on this through the winter. It's effectively a full-time job, 40 hours a week each plus. And if we then add in the Women's Wednesdays, it then means that we need to bring in extra bodies, and of course our women's leader is Emma, and Emma, who rides for the AE Eon race team, the International Swift Racing Team, our regular yellow beacon, aka the boss, as Russ is known as the Bear, and the riders on that really enjoying it, and it's something that we intend to bring back and make the most of through the winter, and hopefully give a home to people wanting to ride the DCG, and bring on lots more female riders into the world of Swift as well. So on the way to the line, this is Darren Cooper making his way in, and you can just see Cooper on the run in here, out of the saddle, 180 watts, 72 revs per minute. Going to be able to see the gantry in front, and the gantry, the signal that Darren has reached the finish of the ride. Remember, of course, that the Chaingang just slightly longer to allow for a warm down as well. So good riding by Darren, 1 hour 43.42 as Darren comes across the line. So we're going to drop back. These are the two riders now on course. So we've got Paul Coleman and Jim Flynn on the climb, just alongside the river. So really good, and great message from Jim there, and this is what the Chaingang is all about. I appreciate Paul you staying with me as we make our way up the climb, and that is what the Chaingang is about. It's about riders looking after each other as they make their way up these slopes. Well, great to see the two riders together here, Jim Flynn, Paul Coleman on the climb. And for those of you who are watching live, the thread now open for posts of your finishing pictures in the DCG Gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club competition. You need to be a member of the DCG Gang to do that. You need to be accepted once you've donated to the DCG Gang. To do that, so you need to just click onto the links on the Facebook page or on the website. And don't forget, of course, that donating is no guarantee of being admitted into the DCG Gang, and we won't just sell ourselves out to just anybody, which is makes a change these days, I suppose. Now, the post is open. That means that you can go in. First person to post is actually Caroline Mansfield. This is Caroline's picture up on the page already. Caroline waiting, must have been fingers poised to get that picture on there, and Caroline currently with pictures of all of the stages she's completed, and great to see. So just keeping a check on our riders who are out and riding, just keeping the track on our riders who are just finished and doing the warm down, getting the pictures on the channel to see the mountain coffee cup picture that's just been dropped in. I'm still waiting to see Mr. Tattershaw Waller having grabbed himself a quick bath in the pool as he's taking his bike and his turbo on holdings just so that he can ride the DCG. Just on to the slopes as they climb up the mountain, you just see Flynn and Coleman together, and if we drop the map in there, you can see that they've got one left hand major hairpin to go, which will take them around the turn prior to the sweeping right that brings you onto the finishing straight and that gantry at the end. So the ascent is continuing for these two, and great to see these riders working together, Paul Coleman and Jim Flynn on the climb. 13% again, another kick of 14%, 15%. It is unrelenting, this climb, and it is nasty stuff, and you can just see Paul saying keeping it smooth, and that is exactly what you've got to do. You've just got to keep it rolling on the way up here, keep the revs steady, don't go into the red on the steep sections because it is such a long climb. Even if you're a punchy ruler, you've got to be steady on the climb, because otherwise you will blow your socks off on the top of it. So our rider's working well on the way up the climb, looking good up there at the moment. As you can see from our helicopter shot there, just working their way alongside the rapids as well. So our two riders together working hard to get themselves up the climb. And certainly looking good. This is the turn coming up on the left hand hairpin turn. And that helicopter keeping a track on our riders. You can just see the two of them as the water comes pouring down the side of the mountain. Mr. Coleman, I hate to break it to you, you need to look good all the time, because Big Brother is watching you, or in this case Matt with the cameras. Helicopter is right overhead at the moment, and keeping an eye on their every move on the way up here. Flynn and Coleman holding together well. So our two final riders coming around the penultimate turn here, and Flynn and Coleman locked together here, doing a nice 2-up time trial up here, and looking like they are going to be straight through that finish, making sure that they finish the stage, taking the pictures, go up on to the Facebook page, and I'm going to be more worthy than the riders who have been out there the longest, and making sure they get in and across the line there. So big long climb taking its toll on our riders, and it looks to me like Flynn actually dangerous dropping Coleman at the moment as they come around this turn. Coleman, who was waiting for Flynn for a while, it's not good to go too early. little bit of levelling up for the riders that come around this corner. It will kick once more before they go up to the line. You can just see communication coming out from Paul and from Jim as they come along this section. You can just see the course of making its way up along the slopes here of the Von 2. Coleman closes in on the back wheel of Flynn here. Flynn in the blue, Coleman in the yellow and black. Just coming up over the writing there, and good to see the two rows together. That's some very famous names, let's face it, in the Tour de France history now. So Coleman up on the left-hand side of Flynn, taking his turn up on to the front. The trees just a little in the way at the moment. We drop down alongside the two riders here and get a better shot as our camera struggles to go through the trees. You can see our two riders now are making the way up here. Now they can just about make out the gantry in the distance. This is Flynn at the moment, and Coleman are doing a great job of hiding behind Jim as they come up this climb. The two riders are working well together here into the finish of the race, stage number 3. Now we don't have a time cut off on the Donny Chaingang. Is way too mean, and it's interesting to see that in the time trial on the women's Tour of Italy, basically they have had they've had two riders eliminated from 3 because of the speed of Anna van Briggen on the time trial. We are here for everybody, and we are going to watch everybody home into the finish and make sure that we give everybody the coverage. These guys working really, really well together, and great to see these two in action on here. It's not just about first things first, it's equally about being able to come across in the back in that lantern ruse position. So just before Jim and Paul get to the line, a quick reminder, we are back on Thursday at 6 o'clock live on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. We will have stage number 4. Stage 4 will be coming out to you. This is our transition stage from the Von 2 across to the second of the mountain ranges, and we have got a track over station at Caspas. Next week we have our final mountain stage and our finale on the roads of Paris on those cobbles. So make sure you get tuned in for that. We have got some great action, and remember, we're here for everybody, so make sure you get your entries in. Don't forget those entries open 25 hours before on the Join a Ride, and they will open at any time you join. If you remember, as soon as the links come to us, we pass them on to you as a member of the DCG Gang Supporters Club. That is how we get our core riders together. If they've donated in on a monthly or a yearly, if they're accepted into the club, and most people are, then you'll find that you are in there. You get the inside run of what's happening, you get the information of what's coming up, and you get the previews, and you get the discount codes, which is a great way for us to be able to say thank you for donating and looking after the Chaingang, contributing in a positive manner. That's what it's all about. So we're going to dive back in with our riders as we head in towards the finish. It looks like not too far. So here we are, the two riders in, and in front of them you're going to see that gantry coming up. It's just around the bend now for the two of them. Just in with Flynn, who's on the front at the moment. Coleman with him for company, and the two riders are keeping each other paced on the way up. Flynn has got a kick on him, so Coleman can't be too complacent. Sat on his heels here. And you know that Flynn and Coleman both are able to push Paul Coleman in here, and in true DCG fashion, helping Jim up into these upper reaches. Jim now pushing, almost hitting those 200 watts as he comes up towards the gantry here. Over 1,100 metres, nearly 1,200 metres of climbing. The guy's been on the road for nearly 2 hours here, and kicking out those watts of this brutal climb on the slopes of Von to this killer of a climb, laying host to everybody. So Mr. Coleman said you're only allowed to sprint within 200 metres. Well, here we go. He's going to try and close Jim down. Is Jim going to see him coming? Here he comes. Coleman's got something left in the tank, that is for sure. He's kicking in, but look at this. Flynn's just gone again. Flynn's got an answer to it. He let Coleman back off and he's gone again. So this is going to be tight between the two of them. Are they going to go through together? Oh, it's going to be incredibly close. It's Flynn who just gets it from Coleman as they come in and through. Great riding, guys. Fantastic to see. You can see just how short our two riders are. So as we've brought both our riders into the finish here, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has been with us on the DCG, on the Donny Chaingang. It is absolutely great fun to commentate, and it's great fun to watch. So from me, Matt P, from Russ Downey, and from everybody involved in the gang, keep safe. We'll see you on Thursday.